I dig it. Well, yeah, I'm not feeling the best myself, and that's also my fault because it was a friend's birthday yesterday, and I drank way too much.
Yeah, that's part of my problem too. So,
Oh, fair enough. Right on.
just I had no excuse aside from the fact that, oh, look, beer's in the fridge. So that's why we're drinking seltzer now. Okay, let's start the show. And we're gonna do episode 1, and then you want to do episode 2 too?
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd it go? Okay, there we go. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there are those who walk the streets of Jersey City, keeping it safe for all the residents. That she is Ms. Marvel, and this is her story. Avast me hearties. Welcome once again to a full stream ahead. I'm your captain, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me as always is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Welcome, Mozz, and welcome to the first episode of Ms. Marvel. Season 1, Episode 1, Generation Y. Kamala Khan attends Avengers Con, only to discover that she herself might have superpowers. Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falah are our directors. Bisha K. Ali gets our credit for television. Credit. Sorry.
No
Waiting for it to load. There we go. Bishop K. Ali also gets written by this week. Our story editors are Will Dunn and Sophie Miller. And Aisha Burhi and Kate Gritman are our hardest working women in show business. Both are our staff writers. G. Wilson and Adrienne Alfona created the Ms. Marvel Kamala Khan character. All right. So this is a fun episode, to say the least. We are coming into Kamalas World. We get to see her little podcast with animations, so cute. Sloth Baby Productions at its finest, recounting the final battle of Endgame, and putting a lot of respect on Carol Danvers. Basically saying, they were lost until she showed up, and then she all but single-handedly saved the day.
Right, of course.
She's a very much a Ms. Marvel fangirl, but that's okay. Right. She's allowed.
Captain Marvel fangirl.
Yes. Yes, Captain Marvel fangirl. Sorry. Oh, and when she's done with that, we come into her home life. She has a very pious brother, whose father tells him that if he does not stop praying, he will starve to death, and right. He has to get around to eating. We have her mother, who is basically everyone's mother. I think everyone's mother is pretty much, all mothers are the same, and they all right. are very disappointed in you. Oh, it's cute. She's taking her driver's test today. This is her big moment. They're doing it on the streets of Jersey City, which I do understand. People do that, but I got to tell you this: if you're a nervous driver and you're getting your license, go to the DMV in Lodi. They have a closed course to drive on.
Oh, wow.
And that is the best place to take your driver's test. Wow. It's not a real world situation, but as a result, you're more likely to pass.
Interesting.
Yes. She says, she says her little blessing as she's getting ready, and then backs her car into the
instructor's car.
The instructor's car. Yeah, and that's, it's funny because when I was trying to teach my wife to drive, she actually did the exact same thing.
Huh.
Except she hit a tree and crushed the trunk of the car. But
yeah, I failed my driver's test because I wasn't looking in the mirrors enough.
Oh yeah, and that's that's the thing that they can get really tough on the driver's tests in New Jersey.
Yeah,
In
at
Michigan,
first,
I
sorry.
literally rolled through a stop sign, and my instructor said, "Yeah, when you're out driving for real, you want to make sure you come to a full and complete stops at the stop
Wow,
signs." Yeah.
pretty cool.
Well, we like driving in Michigan. That's sort of the thing, and so yeah. But this of course upends her plans because the plan was to get a license and drive to Avengers Con, and they are not going to get the chance to do this now, and that's disappointing. But I don't know. So I'm running through a lot of stuff here.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts here? Because
I
it's
was pleasantly surprised by the show.
mhm,
It holds together. Every piece seems to work. The acting is really, really good and honest and genuine from everybody.
mhm.
And they're taking their time to set things up properly. And in sharp contrast to the last two Marvel movies, this is a breath of fresh air.
Mhm. Yeah, well, it's a good origin, and it is interesting how they worked in the the Bengal,
Hmm.
having it be this artifact that was passed down from her grandmother. Um, I like when she puts it on and she gets that glow, and she sort of falls backwards through something.
Dimensions, realms.
Yeah, yeah. I
Time.
mean, that was very exciting. Um, and that is really, I mean, that is really the crux of this episode is when she's at Avengers Con. But visually, I really liked what they were doing with her conversations with Bruno,
Yeah,
and her little fantasy world, which I love the fantasy scene when
I do
she
too.
here's how we do it, here's the meticulous plan, I'm going to leap out of my window, do the
So we're
superhero
gonna take the
landing.
bus.
Yes. Well, and but taking a bus, that is important, and you have to make sure you catch the bus,
Right, right.
although I
Now,
will say
as
New
a
Jersey,
kid in
and
high school who always used to draw on all the tables and every blank chalkboard when nobody was looking, I get that mindset. You're seeing these things sort of everywhere, and the way they use it is really, really cool. You would think that it might come off kind of like annoying or weird or cheesy, but no, it came off really, really well. The neon sign lit up with the emojis and everything. I thought it was really, really cool.
yeah. One big nitpick I have on this
Mhm.
is nobody locks up their bikes in Jersey City, and yet they
Oh,
make a comment. They make a comment about it, about like, well, do you think my bike will be there when I get back? And they're like, in Jersey City, but at no point are they locking up their bikes. Although I did notice that there is an interesting thing when Bruno drops off his bike at the Circle K. There is actually just a tire there, but it
oh.
doesn't look like it has a chain on it either. So it's like and I guess someone in the production department just didn't want to have to show people locking up their bikes because it's an extra motion.
Yeah, but they
But
lock up
it's
their bikes when they go to Avenger Con. When they get there, he locks
no,
up his
they don't.
bike.
No,
He
they don't.
does.
They never lock up their bikes.
Oh, they just put it in the thing and they
Yeah,
walk away.
they put it and they walk away. Yeah, there's
Oh,
never a scene
interesting.
of them locking up the bikes. And if you look at the bikes, they never have a lock on them.
Oh,
So it's weird to me in that sense, but it is what it is. It's a cute thing. It's the kind of like little thing you notice when you're watching
yeah,
something
yeah.
like this.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, but like I said, it's good in the sense that you get this dramatic scene, which is also they did a very good job of introducing an action scene before there are superpowers. With and yeah, but so I like that aspect of it where we are getting this action adventure scene before there's any superpowers. So we get the sense of how this director handles action first
Mm.
off, which is nice. And then also we get to then run it next to how the actual scene plays out. where she does not do a superhero landing. The
Hmm.
branch breaks, she falls, she hurts herself. They get to the bus late. She can't get her bike on the bus, so she loses her bike. But they get to Avengers Con, and that was the big deal.
Hmm.
I felt bad for the dad,
Hmm.
and
Like the
the
Hulk
big
thing?
Hulk, little Hulk thing. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. Although and this is an interesting thing, when she says there is no little Hulk. Well, actually, in a couple of months, there's gonna be, and I hope there's like a tie-in in that where it says, "See,
Oh,
Kamala, I
She-Hulk.
told you, there's a little Hulk."
Oh, that's funny. Right.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yes, and I also think it's funny that the Hulk actually wears less clothes than anyone else, but that's the acceptable costume for a superhero.
Right.
But anyway, but I felt bad that here he is. He's they got the outfits. He's all green. He's ready to share this thing with her, and but she just doesn't want it because she just doesn't want to be embarrassed by her dad. Which I guess I can get. I understand,
Yeah,
but
but
as an older guy myself, I'm like,
right.
oh,
Yeah, no, you definitely felt for him because it's like, oh, well, I'm going to be embarrassed by the family, and like the deeper sort of question happening there is this idea of, are you going to become too Americanized? Do you not respect your culture? So it's like
yeah,
just saying I'm going to be embarrassed by you by saying I'm going to be embarrassed by your whole entire culture, and that hit
hmm
really hard to them. So and that's sort of like the struggle that they're going through. They don't want her to become as Americanized or keep her traditional values, and it's a struggle. And in that culture, it's difficult for young girls, for young, with
hmm
parents. And her parents aren't even that strict, but I know that struggle. So yeah, that rang really, really true in the way those conversations go down.
yes. She does get there. It was very cool because and again, I love Bruno. I love Bruno,
Mhm.
and but what I like about Bruno is that, well, he certainly has feelings for Kamala,
Yeah,
and that is something that we do explore later and throughout. You know, he also respects her as his friend. Like he would like to date her, but he also understands that uh, that's not his end goal. He
right.
does these nice things for her because he likes to do nice things for her. He likes to make her the photon gloves, and I like that he is this inventor and this guy who builds the Zuzu
Zuzu.
device. Zuzu, yes, um, and then ties everything in. And I really appreciate that. I really like what they've done with the character of Bruno in this. Um, I hope he someday gets to meet this Peter Parker kid. Out
Mhm.
there somewhere, because he's out there, and it would be a very interesting thing to see him be a super genius with other kids who are super
Yeah,
geniuses and
maybe that's why
struggling to.
sorry, that's the next
Yeah,
step.
yes, but anyway, at Avengers Con, Kamala puts on the bracelet, realizes that she can see. I like Zoe showing up
Hmm.
in the Captain Marvel costume, and them saying that's not even a correct costume, when in actuality it actually is a comics accurate costume for the original Ms. Marvel.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so like with the little short shorts and all that kind of stuff, you
That's funny.
know, that was exactly what she wore. And it's funny because it is literally what Ms. Marvel would wear, Cap what Ms. Marvel wore in the 70s, but that Captain Marvel has never worn. It's interesting how it all plays out.
Hmm.
And then you have her basically use the magical powers of the amazing bangle that she has, which results in a chaos, basically. And then chaos ensues. The AntMan head falls off, and goes on a roll across the venue. And I don't know, man. There's a part of me that's like, they really made all this stuff far too heavy, Like,
Yeah. It
it's
had
like,
momentum for days. It just kept crashing through stuff and crashing through stuff and crashing through stuff, like
yeah,
somebody was repeatedly kicking it across the room.
yeah, it was weird. Just in the sense, like, and that Thor hammer that falls and that breaks
Huh.
loose, that was actually held up there by metal cables, no less. And those break through.
Spray.
Yeah. And it's just like, has no one heard of paper mache? I mean, like, what? When they were ordering these things, they no, it has to, we want real authentic Ant-Man and Thor items here.
Right.
So yeah,
Although
it
if you go
was
into a
a
con, that would
little.
be kind of a big draw to saying, oh, the actual giant helmet, or
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that could, but at the same time, first off, that'd be dangerous, and second off, even if it was Thor's actual hammer,
right.
it's not that big.
Right.
You would building that giant hammer was more than they needed. So,
Yeah.
but I guess it helps the story. Zoe Zimmer, of course, gets. Uh, and honestly, that was so out of what was that film? Not Heather's. Mean Girls. Where like the bus just hits
Yeah.
the
Or
girl at the
something
end.
out of Jackass,
Yeah, well, and it is weird and funny and crazy.
satisfying because they make you not like her, and then like, of course she's gonna save her, and she's waylaid by the hammer, and you're like, oh, I didn't think they would go there, but good for them.
Yes. And I do like how she's making the hands and the fists and all that kind of stuff. It's not her traditional powers. It is something
Oh.
slightly different, slightly askew, but they managed to give it its essence as well.
Hmm.
And really, when you look at it, it really does look like her body is stretching underneath the purple haze. So that I
Yeah.
find an interesting aspect of it,
So what
where
were her
it
powers in the
does.
comics?
Well, her powers in the comics are effectively, she's a shapeshifter. She
Oh.
can, yeah. Although she doesn't do shapeshifting as much as she used to, and there is some stuff in the comics about how, you know, when she would use her powers, it sometimes had a negative outcome for her, and as a result, she can't or doesn't do the shape shifting as much as she used to. Because like originally, she would actually turn into Carol Danvers when she would
Oh.
when she would when she would fight, like for like the first two issues
Oh
before she
wow.
sort of found her own identity. Yeah.
Oh.
Um. But the real interesting thing she does is she embiggens and ensmallens, where she can shrink down or grow large, uh, like Ant-Man,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
why
a
so many
really,
references to
yeah,
him. Interesting.
yeah, which is a really amazing power set for those who don't know, because just having that ability to alter your mass really changes the game as to what you can do and become as a superhero. So, a lot of people like to pigeonhole her and saying she just has stretchy powers. She does not. Her powers are not actually stretchy. It's more like she can alter her mass and utilize that mass to grant herself superhuman strength and to do amazing things. So
Wow.
I'd like
I
to
wonder
see
where they'll
see
take
where it
it.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting question. We know that she is going to be in the Marvels TV series. Oh no, it's the Marvels movie, sorry. Because that's where we're going to see her next after next episode. Is she's going to be in the Marvels film with Photon and Carol Danvers. And that's going to be exciting. Because I do think that is going to have a lot. We're going to get a lot more into her history and origin.
Hmm.
Because right now what we're getting is just the very surface of it. Where
Yeah.
right now what we know is she's got the bangle.
Right.
and that,
Where do you think that took her in that moment where she just fell back into the purple realm and there were all these like people there? Was that like it felt like she was in the middle of a war or something? There were two sides or something like that.
it's hard to say. It's hard to say exactly what that was. And of course, the one of the central issues with this is just the idea that what we're going to be exploring in the near future in these stories is where her powers actually derive from. And however, that question opens up with this: if these powers come from this other dimension, and is that where she went when she put on the bangle, or did she go somewhere else?
Right. Is it
So
was it
that
a
and that's that.
memory or
Yeah, I mean, and that is another interesting question about memory, especially because we're also going to see other things in this that are going to really open up what this bangle actually is doing and what it's allowing her to do. So, what we see right now is just the very surface. And I think as it goes on, we're going to get more and more. And I'm sure by the final episode, there's going to be a lot of big reveals. But in this moment, she gets home, and of course, her mom is waiting in the room for her. Um, she gets home at 11:11. But it's cool because she unconsciously gives herself a step up on a hard light construction when she's trying to climb back into the room, and she climbs in, and I'm sure she thinks she's gotten away with it too. But then there's her mom, and we get this idea that the mom has a difficult relationship with her own mother, and it seems to derive from her mother's rather what's what I'm looking for, rather I don't want to say undignified, but rather
shameful?
well, yeah, I guess shameful, maybe, uh you know misbehavior, I guess, is what you could
Hmm.
say.
Yeah.
That her mother, you know believed what she kind of spoke in a way that put her outside of the cultural norms of the time. And I think that's, she is her mom was an outspoken woman, and engaged in fantasy, and this caused problems for Kamala's mom. But I'm sure we're going to get all of this as we move on. It's interesting, because this bangle, of course, belonged not to Kamala's grandmother, but to her great grandmother, and that's the person we're going to have to figure out what's going on with all of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, because and I like how it ends, where the mom says, you have to decide: are you going to be responsible, or are you going to be some cosmic, you know?
Head in the clouds.
Yes, but I love it because, of course, obviously, that sense of being, that cosmic far out man kind of idea, but at the same time, in the same level, it is this deeper meaning of, do you want to be cosmic? Do you want to be out there in the stars, which is a very real possibility for Kamala now. And we see, as she's looking at her hand at the very end, she chooses to be cosmic, and I love that. It's just a great way to open up the series and give us a sense of where we're going. Any final thoughts on it, Mozz? Any thoughts you want to add
Um,
into it?
no, I'm just surprised by how much I like the show, how seriously it takes itself.
Yeah,
Um, and they're like taking the care to tell stories in a careful way, and I really appreciate it. It's much more well crafted than I was expecting.
yeah, and I think that is, you know, I get the feeling that one of the issues that Marvel has with these characters is they do really want to do them right. That they have this character that they have got to work through the system. This character is going to be representative to a lot of people, and they have to make sure that when they do it, they're doing it well, that they're doing it right, that people see what they're doing and feel like, oh, this isn't just a cash grab. This is really people that wanted to tell a story
Yeah.
for this group of people who, comic books has not always told a good story for.
Hmm.
And I think that really helps it out. We also, of course, at the end of this, we get our after credits scene at
Mm.
the Department of Damage Control.
Now, who are these
With
people?
so the Department of Damage Control
Hmm.
was something that was set up. We first met them. Well, actually, we first see reference to damage control in, I want to say, Iron Man, where when they're talking about, if you look at one of the news feeds talking about the battle between Ironmonger and Iron Man downtown, they talk about damage control on the scene, cleaning up the mess. And then you've gotten some references to it throughout time, and I believe they were originally part of Shield, but then sort of became their own agency after the fall of Shield, and are now their own independent group, doing things similar to what Shield or Sword does, but also just sort of maintaining order and controlling
Gotcha.
specifically
So they're not
enhanced person.
necessarily bad guys.
No. In fact,
Okay.
Historically in the comics, they're actually pretty decent people.
Okay.
They're actually not a government agency in the comics. They're actually just a private organization that
Ah.
gets basically gets the gigs of rebuilding everything every time it gets knocked over. That's one of the things I always say about like technology in superhero worlds, when people say, why aren't things more advanced when we have all this technology? And it's like, well, actually a lot of things are very advanced, you just don't realize it, because first off, most of the things they're building just look like similar designs to what we would be using now. But everybody's cell phone has like a supercomputer in it, just so a lot of stuff is a little bit more powerful as they are in the comic books. But more to the point is, so much of that technology goes to just rebuilding these buildings every couple of weeks. So they need this super technology to go put the Chrysler building back after it gets knocked down every week. Anyway, so yeah. So
Office furniture sales must be through the roof too.
Oh yeah. Well, it's if one thing you can say is, like, aside from insurance rates, it's a thriving economy. And it's sort of like one of these situations where there's just a lot of manufacturing being done, a lot of processing being done, and that is what we're working with in a superhero universe. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, so they can be good guys, and that's the thing. It's like they're not technically not bad guys, but they're law enforcement. And law enforcement is always problematic in any situation, specifically when we start talking about who is and is not a threat, when people are just sort of making their own choices to become superheroes. When there's not someone in charge of the superheroes, it can be problematic. But yeah, so that's the Department of Damage Control. We're gonna see more of them over the next few episodes, and I am looking forward to everything they're gonna show us. It's gonna be exciting, Mozz.
Indeed.
All right, Mozz. Let me get. If people would like to reach out to you, talk to you about this, that, or the other, how can they find you?
They can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, if you have any thoughts on Ms. Marvel or anything else that's out there, please feel free to write us at CapesandLunatics all one word, all spelled out, at gmail.com. You can also give us a call at 614-382-2737. At 614-38-CAPES, where you can leave us a voicemail. And if you want, we'll hear so that you can have your words heard by everyone. And likewise, if you go down into our show notes, you can click on our link at Linktree. That's linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. There you can go online, buy our t-shirts, buy our merch, as well as contribute to our Patreon, where you will gain special access to our worst superhero movie reviews of all time and many other, much other content. And if you like all that and you still want to reach out to me, you can write to me in that old-fashioned email way where mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I do live tweet things when I feel like it, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Ding.
Thank you, Mozz. All right, you filthy landlubbers. You've sailed the shining seas of Jersey City. We thank you for joining us on our adventure, and we pray that you come back again next week when we once again sail full stream ahead. Arr.